Hello everybody, this is part 2 of the puppy press one leg press series, and in this video we are going to look at the way up towards the wall. So I have lowered my elevation to this super professional handstand elevation, aka flower stool, which I steal from my mother's flowers. We are going to look at how to now make the pathway up towards the wall. So let's have a look first at the awkward way of positioning your foot as you get started. So I recommend you find a similar distance to the wall as you had here when we did the negative downwards movement. And I hope that by now you figured out whether a good angle for you is more sideways on or more front on. So you need to position your stool here, your elevation, to where your foot has an actual good push off position. Yeah, so you need to feel like you can actually place the foot here, take the other one off without sliding the elevation. So you need to be able to push straight down on this elevation, because you're now going to push from here, your hips high, finding a point where your hips might touch the wall. This leg here comes to the side, the knee pushing as far back as possible. Don't turn the leg in here, the knee, because it will make it harder. And then from here you need to take the risk to actually take the weight over the fingers and to the wall until your hips touch. And then you have to lift the legs by rotating the hips slightly backwards. So if you haven't done this yet, I talk about it quite a lot in my 10-week press to handstand course. In order to lift the leg, you have to slightly engage the lower back and push your hips backwards like this, kind of like sticking your butt out. That's what it feels like. So if you just try doing this, a very elegant position, then you might feel that your lower back muscles are engaging here, and that's what we need to lift the leg. And that is not the same thing as sticking the ribs out, yeah? If you just try to keep a minimum core engagement, pulling the stomach in, at the same time just slightly push the hips back. That's what we want and what we need to lift the leg. So let's try this again. Find your position here on the floor. Push down, hips up, and then remember to push this knee backwards and find a place where you're almost touching the wall with your hips here, and then you rotate the hips back and lift the legs at the same time. If you want, you can come to a straddle position. If you don't have a house plant in your way, then come back down. So I recommend you try this both sides, because it's quite a lot of pressure in the shoulders, and we don't want to end up with one shoulder stronger than the other, because the end goal of this, of course this is also a beautiful way to get into a handstand by itself, but the end goal is for many of you, I'm sure, to be able to do a press, an actual press to handstand. So practice both sides. So a thing here that I just want to point out as I send you off with this new exercise is that you slightly need to take the shoulders further than the wrists. So as you do your press here against the wall, first your shoulders will be in line with your wrists, but in order to actually lift the legs, you need to move your shoulders here a bit further front and really push into the floor. So that is something that is quite scary, and that's also where we have to build strength. If you feel like you're struggling in that position, then try to really elevate the shoulders as much as possible in that moment where you feel like you can't hold it anymore. So that will be this moment here. You push the hips up high here. You really have to push the shoulders into the floor and not sink down, but push up, and then push more as you lift and roll the hips back. Yeah, as we practice the press, it's all about elevating the shoulders more than you think that you can, to get strength in this position with the shoulders going over the wrists. So I leave you to practice this until next time, where we will take the elevation away. We will still keep the wall and try different variations of actually doing the one-way press.